Alrighty, what's up guys? Single player Nacho here. They are broken, mutilated, and crazy. It's the variants from Outlast, and they have a lot of crazy things on their mind. Believe me, variants dialogue is filled with expletives, and it's like solving a very complex puzzle. But don't take their words for it. The variants have gone through some shit, and it shows in their actions. The variants were once innocent patients at the Mount Massive Asylum. Yeah, they were a little sick, but once Dr. Wernicke arrived at the asylum, they became the variants. Their bodies became vessels for experiments. It tore through their flesh, psyches, and their own personal memories, which you can catch glimpses of through what little memories they have. Each and every single variant that is in the asylum that you come across in Outlast has suffered through the morphogenic engine. They're placed in these tanks. Equipment is literally stuck through their throats, up their anus, I guess, and other holes that are probably created, and their minds are warped in order to complete a process to control the wall rider. And this is the process that has made every single one of those variants insane, even more so than they already were. This is what gave them that mutilated flesh all over their bodies, that torn skin. Some variants have become extremely violent and chase Miles around with batons, wooden planks. The voices in their heads are telling them to kill. And then there's other variants that are just suffering, holding their legs and rocking back and forth, just wanting to die. Basically, that's just how insane these experiments were. And you gotta understand, these guys are completely innocent. Yeah, some of them might have done some crazy shit in their past, but not to the extent where they are brutally disfigured by all these rituals, this conjuring, as they say it in their own words. And what is it all for? Profit, really. It's all about the money. Is there any way we can figure out what these variants did in their past lives through their dialogue? These crazed metaphors that they speak, and how extremely frightened they are of Dr. Wernicke and the Wall Rider. Buckle up, it's gonna be a very bloody and scary ride to delve deep into the minds of the variants.
Who's there? I'm your friend. Let's play. You and me. You're close. You're so close. Wernicke sent us another visitor. Let's welcome him. Getting away! You slippery little whore! There's more than one way to fuck a cat! Come on! Meat! Wants meat! Wants meat! Meat! Whore! Whore!
There's more than one way to fuck a cat? Is that what you think when you look at Miles Upshur? I guess it is. But that's just one little tiny example of how much there is going on here and how clouded the minds of the variants are. Now, they have a certain motivation to find Miles. Under their blurred thoughts, they believe Miles is an agent, a Murkoff agent. The Murkoff company is, of course, responsible for destroying their entire beings. Their lives have been tossed away by this company. So some of these violent variants are out for Miles' head, or lack thereof, I should say. Now, the meat wants meat line, there's a lot of mutilation around the asylum. There's just limbs and intestines, guts laying around. Some of the variants sleep very calmly next to meat. It is possible that they are cannibals. I think that's probably not out of the question from all the crazy shit we're looking at. But the slippery little whore line, and the fact that they keep referring to Miles as whore, it comes from a certain someone, or, well, two people really, Chris Walker and Eddie Gluskin. Those two are also variants, but the big boys of the variants. The variants are scared of these two variants, and they mimic their own dialogue, most likely out of fear, out of influence, but I don't know, guys. Horror is a very popular word at the Mount Massive Asylum. I'm not saying that all this violence and brutality against Miles Upshur is correct. Miles Upshur abuse is not right, but we have to put ourselves, I know we don't want to, in the shoes of the variants. They really think that Miles is a danger to them, caused all this trauma, and is connected to the Hitler of their minds, Dr. Wernicke.
The doctor is dead. All the doctors are dead, but the doctor. Long time dead. So how did I see him? How did he see me? What does he want? What is he building? 1,000 tokens. It's assaulting flies underneath. Doctor! Is that you? I hear you, Dr. Wernicke. Let's continue. Not allowed. No more! Please! Get them out! Please! The doctor is there! Listen, please! You don't have to be scared of me. I can tell we're the same. You still know it's real. The doctor's dead. You know that, right? Dr. Wernicke died before he even started working here. What kind of experiments does a dead doctor perform on living patients? That's the question.
Are you guys seeing a trend here? There's very conflicting feelings between the variants of Dr. Wernicke. One thing is unanimous, they all believe that he is evil reincarnated, but some of these patients still see him in their minds. His disgusting words and phrases. 1,000 tiny cuts. Salt and flies under the nails. Lovely. I think this is what the doctor would say to some of the variants. It's very terrifying. And they're not really words, but the screams of the variants. You gotta show some sympathy of that pain. How torturous were these experiments? I mean, it's like the variants aren't even people, they are just objects in the eyes of Dr. Wernicke. And the jump scare wheelchair variant was, by the way, was one of my first jump scares in Outlast. Actually, I pissed a little. He's scared of the doctor. He knows he's evil, but he also wants help. It's not too late to help some of these variants. I don't know how you help a guy that's literally bone, but the amount of torture and pain and how it's affected these variants, there's levels to it. And that's why I think Outlast is a very interesting game. All these guys are crazy, but they're all suffering and showing it in their own way. And the most conscious variant has his own theories. He could probably start up a whole YouTube channel on Dr. Wernicke videos. What kind of experiments does a dead doctor perform on living patients? That's the question. The doctor died before even arriving. Now, here's the thing about Dr. Wernicke, who is known as Rudolf Gustav Wernicke. He was a German mathematician and a gifted scientist back in the 1940s. And then some crazy Nazi stuff happened in between, and he moved to the United States. And Dr. Wernicke chilled out, started doing photography, and lived with a bunch of cats, the single life. You would think that he's eating babies with what he's done, what he's accomplished with the Murkoff Corporation. But he lived a very sedentary lifestyle, very normal, until one day the Murkoff Corporation came calling, and that's when Dr. Wernicke started working in nanotechnology, and the variants were the test patients. And in the doctor's own words, nothing is supernatural. Could that be true?
They weren't experiments. They were rituals. A conjuring. So many dead and suffering here over so many years. So much horror. Have you read the files? It's all there. Superstition, delusional Cold War, CIA garbage, Nazi mysticism. Have you heard of MK Ultra? They thought they could co-opt Nazi magic. No reason at all. Except money. It's always money. It comes back and this place is filled with suffering for money. Ghost capital, profit margins of torture.
The doctor told me once that if you show a caveman our technology, you would think it was magic. Then if you showed modern and magic, you would think it was technology. We have faith in all the wrong things, and it will destroy us.
Well, that's pretty damn deep, Mr. Variant. Surprising as it is that philosophy still goes on in the minds of these people that have been permanently afflicted by the Murkoff Corporation, Dr. Wernicke, and all of the violence that's going on in the asylum. And this variant in particular is absolutely right. These experiments went completely haywire. It destroyed everyone in the asylum. And as for the fates of the variants after Outlast, it's not a good one. Spoilers ahead, I guess, but that private military corporation, the one that guns down Miles, after the ending of Outlast, they go into the asylum and they massacre all of the remaining variants that they can find. Hopefully some of them made it out alive. I think it would be pretty easy to catch and find them, but that is pretty tragic. It did destroy everyone, putting faith in the wrong things. And as for these experiments, that morphogenic engine puts the variants in a deep sleep. When they're in this deep sleep, Dr. Wernicke hopes that they can control other beings from other realms, morph through walls, gravity doesn't exist, and destroy anything they encounter at the direction of the Murkoff Corporation. This is basically what created the Walrider. But as I said before, the experiments were not successful, and it left infinite amounts of mutilation through the patients. Their skin is torn, they look very malnourished. It's like their thoughts are eating away at their entire body. Interestingly enough, there was a reverse effect. A perfect example is Chris Walker. He became even stronger after these experiments, and the variants have their own theories. Nazi mysticism, CIA mumbo jumbo, MK Ultra, mind-altering control. It is all very possible, but it's actually nanotechnology, and this is the technology that the Murkoff Corporation would have profited off of. It is always money. That's absolutely true. All on these ill minds, these innocent victims. They had no options, and their lives before this might not have been any different.
I can't choose what I dream. I'm in this place. Never here. Is that you, Jennifer? We didn't finish the last time.
Okay, Jacqueline is so very sharp. Little nails. Ow! No pain anymore, just a little less. A little more. And further. I tried to refuse and I couldn't. Like they made me do it. I thought my family needed the money. They said they had debts. Things to pay. My treatment, my medicine, without insurance. There was only one thing I had worth any money.
God damn it! What the fuck is the matter with you? You weren't invited to this, you goddamn sicko!
You like to watch?
It's sick. You're sick.
Holy moly donut shop. What is going on here? This is one of those scenes that are embedded into my brain. Again, this goes back at how different each of these variants are. Their own individual stories or backstories. Why they choose to do what they do in the mess of all of this chaos. They're free to do as they please. Some of them make sweet love to dead corpses. That's what they do. Other more tragic backstories, like the variants that couldn't pay for his treatment, will probably give you endless theories about what happened. He needed money, his family needed money, and there was only one thing that he had left: his mind, his body. Could the Murkoff Corporation, could they have made offers to people, families with sick loved ones, in exchange for money, have them come over to the Mount Massive Asylum to be experimented on endlessly? It's a possibility. Sad as it is, some of these guys are also criminals. Who is Jennifer? Who's Jacqueline? I sound like a crazy ex-boyfriend. What do these phrases mean and what do they refer to? I'm looking way too much into this, but the story about Jennifer we didn't finish last time. Seems like this guy almost killed someone named Jennifer and she escaped. They tossed him into the asylum, and Jacqueline with the very sharp little nails. It actually makes me sick to my stomach reading that. What is going on here? These could be the names of people that the variants killed or hurt in their past lives. You guys have your own thoughts, make of these quotes what you will. I just see some very sick people that had nothing to do with this experiment, and yet something is coming for them.
You're gonna pay flesh in spades for making us chase you. There's no way out of there. We've got him.
You're one of those Murkoff sons of bitches, aren't you? I want to show you something. Wall Rider! Just keep moving. Wall Rider! Wall Rider!
Let's get a humongous F in the chat for all of the variants at the Mount Massive Asylum. If it wasn't the Walrider which haunted them to the very bone, the Walrider is what they saw in their dreams. The visions, it's what made them even more insane. To some, it was a ghost. To some, it was paranormal. But it was actually one of their own. The one successful variant that became the host for the Walrider, who was encapsulated in one of those tanks, just like all of the other ones at the asylum. This guy Billy is what's chasing them and tearing them apart. And if not the Walrider, the private military corporation that gunned everyone down after the events of Outlast, not a single soul survived. And I have to say, this is tier 1 evil. These patients needed to be treated for what was already going on in their minds. Dr. Wernicke, the Murkoff Corporation, went the opposite route, took control of the Mount Massive Asylum, and it was a playground of brutal torture, experiments, and death. There was no escape. Some of the variants had an inkling of what was going on. They wanted help, they wanted to escape, but it was never a possibility. Once the Murkoff Corporation stepped in, it was over. Nothing could have prevented their deaths. And that's what makes the variants of Outlast the poor, tortured souls. Well, thank you so much for checking out this video. I really appreciate you sticking around. What did you guys think of the Outlast variants? Their behavior, what they were doing? Comment down below what you felt when you saw that scene. You know what scene I'm talking about. The dead corpse sex scene. I had to say it. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more horror lore, lists, and mysteries. If you'd like to support the channel any further, there is merch. A t-shirt, a sweater, and a little nacho sticker. All very degenerate items. Let's be real. Link will be in the description for that. And if you have a second, check out the second channel. I play random horror games, challenges, stuff like that. Link will be in the description for that as well. Again, guys, I really appreciate all the support. Have an awesome rest of your day. And as always, stay single.